Hey, sports fan. So I recently read not my first arc, but my first arc that I have been really excited about, and that is The Ship of Death by Kyle Winkler. Before I get into my review, I want to give a really big thank you to Harper and Galley for providing an early copy of the book in exchange for my feedback. The Ship of Death is about a man named Cole and his wife Lorraine, and they gain early access, kind of beta tester access, to a tabletop RPG called The Ship of Death. The game quickly takes hold of them. They find that it is seeping into their personal lives. It's kind of influencing them, and they are encouraged to do things that they would not normally do in their actual lives. As we move further into this game and as we see more of what's happening and kind of the breakdown of Cole and Lorraine, we and they start to realize that maybe this game is not just a game. The book is written in kind of a found footage format. It's written in Cole's post-game notes, in Lorraine's personal journal. It's written in like internet forum posts, 911 calls, police reports. I wasn't sure if I would enjoy that type of book. I've enjoyed movies that are filmed like that, like The Blair Witch Project or Paranormal Activity, but I wasn't sure how it would translate into a book. I don't think I can recall ever reading a book that's kind of told in this sort of format. I have to say, I think that it does work pretty well. There is some nuance that's lost that I think could have been gained by having a third party narrator or even a first person narration from Cole or Lorraine throughout the entirety of the story. But I think that the found footage does work, and I do think it works pretty well. I didn't dislike it. I found that the breaks between first person narration from Cole and Lorraine with these little pieces of information coming from other sources were in good places. It kept the pacing kind of nice and consistent throughout the entire book. I wouldn't say that I disliked it. I don't know that it added anything to the story, but I don't think it took away anything either. What I liked about this book is that the story is insane. It feels wholly original. I have seen movies and read books with a similar kind of plot, but this still felt fresh and original and unique. I think it was a unique take on the premise of like a cursed board game. I enjoyed Cole as a character. I thought that he was a little too trusting, a little too naive, but I appreciated that about his character and his reactions to situations that were arising. I think that the book captures this idea of like madness and this kind of descent and the idea of like confused realities really well in a way that makes the reader even be like, what is going on in this book? I felt like the creepy parts were really creepy. I wouldn't say that they were scary. I would say that they were like really creepy and sometimes gross. The creepy characters were extremely creepy and at times intimidating. And I wouldn't say they were necessarily frightening, but they did make you go, ooh, what is ooh, if that makes any sense. I really liked the way that the characters were written. I really liked kind of how quickly things escalate and how quickly Lorraine sort of falls apart. I did find the parts that are meant to be disturbing very disturbing. I found myself kind of wide-eyed and being like, why is this happening? Why are they doing this? Unfortunately, there were some things that I didn't like. The first thing that jumps out is the word choice. The word choice in this book felt so strange at times. Some of the words were so specific and so almost archaic. There are probably at least 5 individual times where a word was used. I had to look it up because I had quite literally never heard this word used in my life. And then once it was defined and I was assured that this is a real word, it wasn't a typo, it wasn't a misspelling, I found that I felt a little bit removed from the story because I had to seek out a word. I feel like I have a pretty broad lexicon. So when words are being used that I'm completely unfamiliar with and I'm having to stop, look it up, and then come back into the story, I found it to be a little bit jarring. It made me feel a little bit disjointed, and I would lose connection from what I was reading and then have to kind of get back into it. Another one of my complaints is that the book could really stand to be probably like 20 to 30 pages longer, mostly in the beginning. I would have really liked to understand Cole and Lorraine as individuals and as a couple before just being thrust into this insane event in their lives. I think it would have given me a better feel for who they were. It would have given me a deeper understanding of why they devolve so quickly into this game, just to have a little bit of background of these characters. Now, I do understand that with how the book is written, that giving backstory of these characters would be complicated. It would be difficult to have a found footage that explained Lorraine's childhood or their relationship together, like how they met, things like that. But I would have appreciated it, and I think it would have given just some depth to the characters and a little bit more understanding for the reader. As it stands, Cole makes choices that a normal person wouldn't make. He meets a random guy who is actually super weird and kind of creepy, and then invites this man into his home. And not only does he invite this man into his home, but he drinks moonshine that this guy just brings in a bottle in his coat. So I would have liked to understand more of why Cole felt like that was an okay thing to do, why he's so trusting, why he is so quick to just jump in with ostensibly a freaking weirdo who he meets in a bar. There is enough subtext that we can assume that the game has taken hold immediately, and that is part of why they do what they do. I just think that there's a little bit of depth, a little bit of nuance that's missing, and I don't know how that could be rectified, but it is a note that I would offer if anybody cared to listen. Overall, I really enjoyed it. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. I gave it a 4 on like vibes and the story overall, and a 3 on technical skill because again, I just felt like there was some nuance missing. The diction was a little bit strange. Across the board, pretty good. I would recommend it. I think that if you want a kind of weird, creepy, pretty unique take on a cursed game, this is gonna be right up your alley. I don't know that I would reread it. I don't know that I enjoyed the story enough to want to relive it or re-experience it. It is a fast enough read that it wouldn't take up a lot of time to reread it, but I'm just on the fence. I don't typically give half-star ratings. If I did, this would be a 3.5 because it really truly is like middle of the road. I did enjoy it, and I enjoyed it enough that I went ahead and rounded that 3.5 up to a 4 because I like to hold myself to whole star ratings. If you're looking for something super weird, super creepy, very strange and unique and interesting to read and quick to get through, I would say pick this one up. It comes out in September of 2026. It would be a perfect Halloween read to add to your spooky TBR if that's something that you're looking for. Thanks for hanging out.